What's the biggest betrayal you've ever experienced? In my second year of college, I moved in with my best friend Kyle. We'd been inseparable since high school, late night gaming, surviving awkward prom dates, even getting our first tattoos together. Both terrible, by the way. Living together felt like the natural next step. At first it was great. We threw chill house parties, cooked garbage meals together, and pulled all-nighters with energy drinks and regret. Kyle was like a brother to me. Then I started dating someone, Sarah. We met in our literature class, clicked instantly. She was warm, hilarious, and unlike anyone I'd dated before. Kyle liked her too, or so I thought. He'd joke around with her, tease me when I got nervous, act like her big goofy friend. It never bothered me. I trusted him. Fast forward a few months. Sarah started pulling away. Less texting, more excuses, vague reasons for not coming over. I asked if something was wrong. She just said she was confused. One night, I came home early from class. I walked in, and the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. I passed Kyle's room and heard voices. One of them was hers. I froze. I didn't barge in. I didn't need to. The tone of their voices, the laugh she made, it told me everything. I walked out, went to a bar, and sat there alone for 3 hours. When I confronted them later, Kyle just shrugged and said, "It just happened." Sarah cried. I said nothing. I moved out 2 days later and blocked both of them. The worst part? I still don't know if he ever felt guilty, and I hate that some part of me still misses who I thought he was. I worked at a mid-sized marketing firm for 5 years, gave it everything. Late nights, working weekends, picking up slack for other departments. I never complained, never pushed back, always stayed professional. My manager, Derek, was like a mentor. Older, seasoned, always saying things like, "You've got real leadership in you." When he announced he was retiring, it felt like my moment. I had been unofficially running half his duties for months. Co-workers assumed it was mine. He even pulled me aside a week before and said, "You'll hear good news soon." I was buzzing. The day of the announcement, we all gathered in the conference room. Derek stood at the front and gave this big speech about trust, growth, loyalty, and then he named the new department head. It wasn't me. It was Shannon, a new hire from another office. She'd only been there 6 months. I didn't even know she wanted the role. Everyone clapped. I smiled. Inside, I was sinking. Afterward, I went to Derek and asked what happened. He didn't look me in the eye, just said, "You're reliable. Too good where you are. We didn't want to risk moving you." Translation: I was never going anywhere. I cleaned out my desk that Friday. It wasn't just that I didn't get the promotion, it was realizing the guy who believed in me had used me as a workhorse and never once intended to reward it. When I was 25, my mom got sick. Cancer. Fast and brutal. I moved back home to help take care of her while my dad worked, and my sister stayed busy handling the insurance, which really meant avoiding the hard parts. One night, my mom asked me to bring her a box from the attic. Just old papers, she said. I found it behind a pile of Christmas stuff. Inside were photos, letters, and an envelope with my name. The letter was from my aunt, my dad's sister, dated before I was born. She wrote about how happy she was that he was going to be a father again. Again. She talked about a girl named Layla, a teenager, and a baby he didn't raise. I brought the letter to my mom. She read it, closed her eyes, and said, "I always hoped you'd never have to know." Turns out, my dad had gotten a 17-year-old girl pregnant when he was 24, paid her family off to keep it quiet, never saw the child, then married my mom like nothing had happened. The betrayal wasn't just his. It was knowing that everyone in my family knew, except me, my mom, my grandparents, even my sister. They let me grow up thinking our family was whole. I found out later the child, my half-sibling, was still alive. Lives 3 towns over. I haven't reached out yet. I don't even know what I'd say. But I still see my dad every Sunday for dinner. And every time I look at him, I wonder what else he's buried. We dated for 2 years. Her name was Rachel, and I was head over heels in love. The kind of love that makes you rewrite your entire personality, cancel plans just to be around her, and convince yourself her passive-aggressive comments were just quirky. We lived together for the last 6 months of our relationship. I thought it was serious. I was even planning to propose on our anniversary. Then she broke up with me, said she wasn't happy and needed to find herself. No cheating, no huge fight, just quiet, sterile heartbreak. I was crushed. After she moved out, I found something under our bed, a leather journal. I knew I shouldn't read it, but I did. The first few pages were poetry, whiny, dramatic stuff. Then it shifted. Full-on entries. Dates, places, names. Turns out she'd been sleeping with a coworker for nearly a year. She wrote about the guilt, but also the thrill, about how I was safe, but emotionally dull. She called me the boyfriend-shaped comfort zone, while she got her real needs met elsewhere. The worst part? One entry was written the same night we'd gone to dinner for my birthday. I'd spent half my paycheck on that meal. She'd spent the afternoon in someone else's bed. I put the journal back in the box she left in the closet and never said a word. Let her keep thinking she got away with it. There were 5 of us, tight-knit since sophomore year. We had a group chat, made weekend plans, shared memes, supported each other through breakups and mental breakdowns. I really thought they were my people. Then one day, I was with Sam, one of the 5, helping him move. He left his phone unlocked on the counter and a notification popped up from a group chat. The name? No, my name chat. I froze, clicked it. Dozens of messages. Scrolling and scrolling, going back months. They talked about me constantly, mocked my texts, laughed at how often I trauma dumped, made fun of a photo I'd posted after my dog died, called it emotional fishing. One of them even said, "He's like the sad friend we keep around for character." I left without saying anything, told Sam I had to go, then blocked every one of them. It's been years. I haven't spoken to any of them since. They still hang out, still tag each other. I used to wonder if they miss me. Now I hope they remember what they lost. I was in the middle of a brutal custody battle. My ex-wife and I had separated a year prior, and it got ugly fast. Lawyers, mediation, the works. I wanted shared custody of our son. She wanted full control. My lawyer, Greg, was someone I trusted. Family friend. Knew my parents. Said all the right things. Gave me hope. But something always felt off. Like I was just losing the edge. Every time I filed something, she filed back stronger. She'd know things I hadn't said in court yet. Things I'd only told Greg. Then one night, after a particularly brutal hearing, I went to a bar alone. Sat at the end, drinking quietly. A woman sat next to me. Friendly. Turned out she was my ex's new paralegal. She got drunk, loose-lipped, and at one point she laughed and said, "Your lawyer's practically been playing for our side this whole time." I pressed her. Turns out Greg had gone to law school with my ex's attorney. They were still close. Golfing buddies. He'd been feeding her updates, off the record, to keep things from escalating too far. I fired him the next day, reported him to the bar. Didn't matter. By then, I'd already lost custody. It was my 30th birthday. I wasn't expecting much, just dinner with my girlfriend and maybe a few drinks. But when I walked into the restaurant, I found all my closest friends yelling, "Surprise!" Balloons, streamers, a table full of food and faces I loved. My girlfriend Lily had organized it. I was stunned. She kissed me, told me she'd been planning it for weeks. I was floored. I remember thinking, wow, I should marry this woman. About an hour in, I went to the back patio to get some air. One of my friends, James, was already out there. He looked drunk and emotional, gave me a big hug, told me how proud he was of me. Then he said it. "You're a better man than me. I could never pretend like nothing happened between us." I thought he meant something dumb. A joke, maybe. But I asked, "What do you mean?" He blinked, then froze, then said, "You don't know, do you?" He tried to backtrack, but it was too late. 2 days later, I got Lily to admit it. She and James had hooked up twice. Once 6 months ago. Once, accidentally, a few weeks before my birthday. And he still came to the party. Ate my cake. Toasted to me. I cut them both out that week. Still haven't had a birthday party since. My older brother, Ryan, was the golden child. Everything came easy to him. Sports, girls, charm, money. I was the quiet one, the reader, the writer, the weird kid in the corner with a spiral notebook full of stories. When we were in our early 20s, I finally finished writing my first novel. A dark fantasy piece I'd been working on for 3 years. I didn't tell anyone except Ryan. I wanted to surprise the rest of the family once it was published. I printed the whole thing, 400 pages, put it in a binder, marked it final draft, and kept it in my room. A few weeks later, Ryan had a party while I was away. I came home to a trashed living room and my manuscript gone. I asked him. He laughed. Oh, that thing? Dude, it was all just weird dragons and rapey wizard stuff. I tossed it. You're better off. He threw away my life's work. My only copy. No remorse. Just a shrug. He said he was protecting me from embarrassment. I didn't talk to him for 4 years, and I haven't written fiction since. After a rough breakup, my friend Mark convinced me to get back into dating, said I needed to rebuild confidence. We joked, made profiles together. He even helped me write my bio. A few days later, I matched with this gorgeous girl named Cassie. We talked nonstop. She was funny, sarcastic, nerdy, everything I liked. We set a date to meet up that weekend. I showed up to the cafe, waited 15 minutes. No one. Then I got a message. Hey, don't be mad. This was me. It was a joke. I just wanted to prove you were being too desperate. It was from Mark. He'd catfished me, just to humble me. Said he didn't think I'd actually fall for it. I didn't reply. Just walked out. I deleted all my apps that night. And his number. There's a special kind of betrayal when someone convinces you to open up, just so they can slam the door shut on your face. In high school, I had one teacher who really saw me. Mr. Langston. He taught creative writing and was the first adult who treated me like I had something worth saying. I'd stay after class just to talk. About books, depression, my parents' divorce. He listened to all of it. Encouraged me to keep writing when I felt like I was drowning. He was the first person I ever told I was gay. He didn't flinch. Just said, that doesn't change a thing. I clung to that. When I graduated, I emailed him updates. He responded like a proud mentor, told me to keep the light alive. I genuinely believed he'd been placed in my life for a reason. Then, 3 years later, I got a text from a friend back home. You see the news about Langston? He'd been arrested. Inappropriate texts. One of his male students, 15 years old. Police found messages on his school laptop. There were others. I went cold. I started questioning everything. Our conversations. The moments that once felt safe. The advice. The encouragement. All of it now felt like it had a shadow over it. He never touched me. Never crossed a line. But the trust? That was the violation. And I haven't written since. When I was 12, my parents died in a car crash. Instantly. It was the kind of trauma you don't process. You just survive. My godmother, Elaine, took me in. She wasn't blood, but had been close to my mom forever. At first, she was amazing. Gave me my own room. Took time off work. Told me every day, "You're not alone. I've got you." I believed her. She raised me until I turned 18, helped me apply for college, co-signed my student loans, always had birthday cards waiting on my pillow. Then, when I was 22, I applied for a small inheritance my parents had supposedly left me. Just a few thousand from an old policy. But when I checked with the bank, they said the account had been closed 10 years ago. By Elaine. Turns out, they'd left me more than I ever knew. Close to $40,000. Enough to pay for school. Enough to change my life. She used it. Vacations, home renovations, a new car the year I was eating ramen and working 2 jobs. When I confronted her, she cried. Said she needed it to take care of me. But I checked the dates. The withdrawal started 3 months after the funeral. She just said, "I didn't think you'd find out." I left. Haven't seen her since. She still sends birthday cards. I never open them. I have a twin brother. Identical. Grew up doing everything together. Sports, school, getting mistaken for each other constantly. But we were different in personality. I was quiet, cautious. He was magnetic, charming, reckless. In college, I fell in love with a girl named Tessa. She was in my psychology class, and for the first time in my life, I felt like someone saw me, not one of the twins, just me. We dated for a year. She met my family. Everyone loved her, especially my brother. At first it was harmless. Jokes. Teasing. That weird twin rapport. But then she started acting distant, canceling plans. I figured it was stress or burnout. Until one day, I saw her car parked near campus, outside my brother's apartment. I waited. She walked out an hour later. The look on her face when she saw me told me everything. She broke down, said it just happened, that she didn't mean to, that he'd been vulnerable, lonely, that they'd only kissed at first, that it became something more. When I confronted my brother, he didn't even deny it, just said, "You've always had the easy stuff. Let me have this one." We haven't spoken since. And when I look in the mirror, I still sometimes see his face and wonder how much of him is in me.